welcome everybody to the first virtual book fair UK. Now we're going to present from United States Nicholas Yogisense with his book presentation Yogisense, accompanied by the presenter Libertad Betancourt. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you so much for everybody for be here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Uh, all around the world, because we know this fair, this virtual book fair is now universal. We are everywhere. And today, my name is Libertad Betancourt. I'm from Mexico City, but I live in the United States, in Houston, Texas. And I have been living, I left my country 20 years ago, and I found beautiful people around the world. And one of the most beautiful people is our guest today. This is an experiment because this fair is a book fair, okay, a virtual book fair. But for me, I'm a multicultural artist, and I believe that we have many talents. We don't have to be closed just in one thing. And this fair, it has not to be only in for books. This space is for everybody. And today we have something new that I love. Is a very special person. I know him in person. He lived in Houston. He's not in Houston anymore. He's in Denver, right? He's in Denver, and his name is Nicholas. Nicholas, let me see the last name because I know like Nicholas Yogisense. Auger? Auger is
Yeah,
correct?
Auger. Yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
welcome, my friend. How
Thank
are
you.
you?
Thank you. I'm very well. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I'm so excited. Who
Me
is
too.
Nicholas? People is maybe thinking about who is Nicholas. I'm going to introduce Nicholas. As a yogi and world traveler for over the past 11 years, it's my passion is to share physical, mental, and spiritual well-being to as many beings as possible in creativity, innovative, and collaborative ways, namely through the art of peace, relaxation, self-awareness, diet, and lifestyle choices. My intention is to give others a higher sense of their true nature so that their life becomes more meaningful and joyous as true as thus their joy extends to everything around them. I have developed, create, and manage health and wellness programs and classes in Colorado, Houston, Texas, Tamil Nadu, India, Guatemala, and Nicaragua with the highest value on participants' experience and retention can be edited down. Okay, welcome my yogi, my best yogi. I was the student. I took classes with him. He was my teacher here, and I took classes with my kids too. Okay, I don't want to talk more. The space is for
Well,
you, and I want to tell us, what do you do? What is yoga for you?
well, thank you so much for the intro.
Thank you.
Um, for me, I'm probably about 13 years of experience now of yoga, and it was one of those things where it happened upon me in such a bizarre way where I actually found it through art. And I've always loved art, and I've always made art my whole life. I studied sculpture in college, so it just happened upon me one day. And when I found it, I realized that that's what I had been looking for. And my whole life, I was looking for um, kind of this solitude and this practice of caring for yourself, but in a really simple way, where there's no external tools needed. There's no, you know, different dialects to understand it. You can really understand it just by being still, being quiet. The interesting thing about yoga is that you do have to use your intellect to understand the concepts. So we have definitions and words which help us to understand and explain what's happening. But when you really get into it, there's really the space beyond any words, beyond any thinking. And it's this very calm solitude is what I'd like to explain it as. But really, when you put a word on it, you kind of get back into thinking and you kind of miss the point. So for me, it took me a while to really understand. And over the years, I've understood yoga in different ways. And I would say that in the beginning, you know, I'll hear people say, oh, I'm not good at yoga, or I don't do yoga. And I usually think they're referring to maybe touching their toes. But yoga is so beyond all of that it takes a while to really get into it. And you're really just getting into yourself, and you're creating more self-awareness within your own being. And that's really the essence of the whole thing. So if you're sitting still, are you aware of your posture? Are you aware of your breath? Are you aware of, maybe I ate some food and it didn't work with my body well? So it's just kind of watching yourself, and you become more aware of yourself in all aspects. And you also find the self-confidence in there as well, because you understand who you are in here instead of how we are presented externally. So it's really meant a lot to me, and it really changed my life right when I found it. And I never turned away from it when I found it. So that was really the beginning for me, was through art, and then finding this discipline where I'm with myself and practicing relaxation and stress reduction and all these things which our culture really needs. And then I started to really fall in love with it, and I began to teach yoga. And so I taught yoga. I've taught for about 12 years now, and I just love it. And it's really meant so much to me over the years. And teaching back in Houston to a big audience, and you were there, it was just brilliant, really, to be able to do something where you can bring a whole community together, and you have the same common goal, which is, you know, just being yourself, relaxing. It's kind of this non-doing as well. So I would say that everything in our culture is like one thing, it's this like activity, action, thinking, stress, doing. And I think yoga is really the counterculture. That's the pause, the stop, the waiting, the calm. So I think it's really important for anyone. If you're really active, you still need it. If you're not very active, you could definitely use it. It would benefit you in all ways. I would say the key parts of yoga, just as kind of a general for someone who's watching, maybe has not experienced yoga yet, there's aspects of it. But again, when you kind of stop on one part of it, you might not get the whole picture. So if I could explain the whole thing, I would say there's movement, there's stretching, there's breathing, relaxation, and self-awareness. And self-awareness is really the goal of all of the practices combined. And really, the thing that I love about yoga is that it's so old, we really don't know the true date of its origin, because the yoga I teach from is typically from India and that area. So before it was written down, it was passed on verbally. So it was this teacher to student sharing. And so I like that it's kind of ageless. And I think with all good art never dies. And so I think there's an element of creativity in it, in movement. And for example, with the yoga postures, because most people think that yoga is just the postures. The postures didn't come until much later. First, they were sitting still in lotus position and just seated meditation. And then after an hour to 5 hours of that, their body would get tight, their hips would get stiff, their back would get tight. So then they stretched. So we see it as one thing now, you know, it's very popular in our culture today, but it really was about this self-awareness, being still, bringing your attention into yourself. And then it grew. And when art is released into the culture, it's not really yours anymore. And everyone can kind of change it in the way they want to. They can have their own interpretation of it. So I think yoga is kind of beyond culture, time, space. And I think it's really beautiful for that. So I've really been attracted to it, and I've really held tight to it for a long time, and I'll always teach it as long as I can talk. I don't even have to move around to teach it. So some other things, because I took some notes because I was kind of nervous about this,
Great.
even though, you know, I'm just talking to you basically, but you know, I'm trying to keep my mindset with that.
Hey,
But
Nicholas, so many
yeah,
people, probably not everybody knows that are different kind of types of yoga. No, are
Hmm.
many, and some of them, for example, the kind of yoga that you practice is not that focused in breathe, right? It's correct. It's more about staying in so quiet and relaxed, but not unconscious. No, it's just
Hmm.
more relaxed and for open the door for, because we are unconsciousness. We are, I don't know how do you say in English. Let me think in Spanish. I don't remember. Is consciente, inconsciente, a subconsciente, consciousness, unconsciousness, and subconsciousness. Right. This
Hmm.
is the kind of yoga that you practice. Could you explain a little more for everybody how many, just a simple explanation, what kind of yoga are types, and what kind of yoga do you practice, please?
I personally, I've seen quite a bit of the varieties of yoga, and honestly, from most of my experience being in America, there's been, I'll teach a class and someone will say, "What type of yoga was that?" Or kind of those questions. And I try to teach from more of a traditional standpoint of hatha yoga. And I think hatha yoga is pretty brilliant. I think the goal of hatha yoga is to purify yourself. And so when I think about yoga and stretching and all of the techniques in the yoga toolbox, I think about trying to getting back to neutral. So can you sit without pain? Can you stand without pain? Um, throughout your day, if you feel pain, do you know how to address it? Do you know what stretch you might alleviate that pain with? So I definitely I would like to think that it's more of a traditional approach where one of the key aspects, and this is something that I'll always do, is breath counting. Breath counting is like the gateway because you're focusing on, again, yourself, and your breath is yourself. And so if I'm doing a posture, let's say I'm doing a forward fold position where I'm stretching my back, I'll count out 5 to 10 breaths. And if you want to take notes, I think that is really the best of all, five to 10 breaths in every posture. Because if you're doing a posture where it's unbalanced, let's say a side stretch to the right, then you want to do the side stretch to the left, you'll want to make yourself even, because I'm trying to get back to this neutrality. I'm trying to have my spine even and feeling good and neutral. So 5 breaths one way, 5 breaths the other. It's a pretty good way to go. Your mind does not have a whole lot of space to wander around or think too much because you have the content of the breath. So that's one of the aspects of the hatha yoga as well, is that there's a step-by-step procedure into this self-awareness again. And it's really brilliant how it's written out. I would highly recommend, if anyone's curious about the philosophy, read the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali.
Hmm.
Brilliant. I mean, that was probably one of the best texts I've ever read. And in that text, there's an 8-step process known as the 8 limbs of yoga. And it's all about raising your concentration and your self-awareness. So I concentrate on my breathing. My mind is at rest because I'm just counting my
Hmm.
breath. And it's really simple. So I try to make yoga very, very simple. I try not to teach in Sanskrit too much, which is the language that I learned yoga from. Um, but I try to really just kind of break down as many barriers as I can. And I
Hmm.
try to make it easy for kids and adults and everyone to understand, because all it's about is just your self-awareness, time for yourself, and your solitude. Um, so hopefully that hits on that question. But
Yeah,
I
thank
kind of
you.
want to segue into the kids portion, if
Do
you
you
will,
know is
unless
the
you have another question for me.
and do you know yoga is the untangible heritage of humanity for the UNESCO?
Mm.
Do you know
Hmm.
that? It's
Yeah,
it's
it's just
incredible, right?
brilliant. I
Yeah,
love it. Yeah.
yeah, me too.
So with all of this, and I don't mean to cut you off if you want to throw something else at me.
No, go ahead.
Are you good?
Yeah.
So with all of this, in the pretty much in the very beginning of teaching yoga, I started to teach kids yoga because it was something, when I found it, it was something that I wish I had been showed when I was younger. And not that I didn't get stretching in like physical education class at school. I really don't remember doing that, but I'm sure that there was definitely movement and stretching and breathing. So you have the elements, but no one really taught me how to control my stress, how to reduce my own physical pain and tension. And it also taught me about myself. So I wish that it had been taught to me when I was younger. So now that I know about it, I want to teach kids about it because they are the future generation. So if they can understand how to calm themselves down,
Exactly.
how to notice if the mind is getting the best of you,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, bringing you down, mistakes you made in your past or oscillating thoughts that aren't so helpful, you want the tools to bring yourself back to yourself now. And I think that's really the essence of it. So I want to teach kids it, and I have for pretty much the 12 years that I've taught yoga. And then one day I was teaching, and I was about to teach a kids yoga class, and then I was like, you know what, the kids I had at that time, they were not as interested, and so we would end up running around the room and like playing
Mm-hmm.
soccer or some other kind of fun thing,
They are
just getting them to move
hypers.
and breathe. Yeah. And so I was trying to match with them on where they're at, because you can't really force someone to learn something, but you can maybe make it fun, and then they don't really
Exactly.
know that they're learning it. So that's where I came from, with that thought process. And art really brought me into that creative thinking. So one day I created just a hand-drawn version. I got like a little pad like this, 100 pages, and I just wrote on each of the pads. I have like some examples here, but like I drew like a picture, and then like another picture, and like words like pretzel. So I would then play with the kids, and I would draw a card, and I just kind of made it up, and I played with this group of kids and a couple of groups of kids for about a year with this prototype, and then I made a second one on really scrap pieces of paper, and then I would have little stars I would give out for participation. So, but anyway, so that really worked, and I thought, you know, this would be great because kids, if you say, hey, be still and do yoga, don't move, don't wiggle, you know, calm down, that doesn't really work.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
No
This
one
is
really
like a
likes to hear
game,
that.
no? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but oh, it's a game. Oh, I'm not. And then I'm not telling you what to do. The card is telling you what to do. So it was kind of these breakthrough thoughts, and I was like, well, this is pretty good. So
Exactly.
then I created my first version, which was the nature
Wow.
deck, 54
Uh,
cards, and
Excuse me,
these are
Maria.
cards.
Could,
Yes, yes.
can we put the pictures that we have? I have a surprise for you,
Yeah.
Maria.
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Maria, are you there?
Okay, wait a minute, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, continue. She's going to share us the
Oh,
pictures.
you're good. Yeah, I had
Okay, it's about your
my
game.
little display back there.
I guess, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
And it was the first version that you show us. It was
Yeah, but anyway, there's three versions, and then I put it all into one box, which is this one. I think you might share the picture of that,
What
but
is the difference
that's the
between the first, the second, and the third?
well, the first one, this orange one, is called the nature deck, and so that one is just words. That one's like flamingo, snail, dog,
Mm,
and
Pretty.
I didn't want to put
go ahead. Yeah.
I didn't want to put pictures on it because I wanted pure creativity. So if you made your own snail pose, it was your pose. So that
Mhm.
one was just strictly the most creative deck. The second deck, oh great, thank you. The second deck, which is the blue one in the middle, is the pose builder deck. And so that one has specific instructions, such as make your body into a triangle, stretch the front of your body, breathe 10 times through your nose. So specific things like, you know, one hand on the
Mhm.
floor, something like that. The last deck, which is that purple deck there, is the yoga pose deck. And that one has 54 actual yoga poses of me doing the poses with the picture and the name. So it's kind of a progression. You know, the orange one is purely creativity. The middle one is creativity with a bit of a restriction, so that a restriction actually creates creativity as well, from what I found with art. And then the last one is actual poses. So the last one kind of looks like these. So they have like all that on there. So anyway, yeah, I created that, and then I put it all in the one box, and it really meant a lot to me to, after having done yoga for so long, to actually photograph myself doing it was kind of a big deal. Um, and then to share it. And just like I said before,
Mhm.
with art, when you create it, you let it go, and then the world takes it as
Mhm.
it is, and they can, you know, art is no longer yours when you give it away like that. So
Mhm.
it's been a lot of for me to do that, and it's been a really fun project. And the point of this as well, um, was that before this creation happened, I created a website which is called Yogisense.com, which is why I have my name online as Nicholas Yogisense. But Yogisense.com is like a free resource for everyone. So the most basic answers to yoga, great videos that help you. It's all for free. So I want to give it away. It's the essence of yoga is that no one owns it. So that was kind of the beginning of it. And then I moved into yogisgame.com, which is where I'm now promoting this game. And with the purpose of this, it really hit last year too, where all the studios basically closed. And then you had to wear masks for the other parts of it. I wanted to make yoga more accessible. And that's kind of my goal with it, because it is so simple and brilliant, that anyone can do it anywhere. And if they have the right knowledge, they can start now. So I wanted to make something where I could um, basically teach while I wasn't there. So I could,
Mhm.
send you a copy, and you could teach your kids with pictures, and you could play a game to actually get them to do physical exercise and activities without saying, hey, let's do yoga for 30 minutes. You play for 15 minutes and you just have fun and you move around. And with my stepdaughter, we'll play and she'll want to play all over again.
I
Let's do it
saw her
again.
in
And
a
so
video. I saw her in a video
yeah,
that you have.
she
Yeah,
loves it.
she's adorable.
It's funny too, because I thought she was just being sweet in the beginning, like supporting me, but she actually really likes it. And now she'll show her friends some of the poses, like actually like the second pose there, Firefly. She'll show that as well. That picture, I appreciate you showing these pictures too. That's
Thank
my
you.
yoga mat. It's a little tiny mat that fits on the front of any yoga mat, and it has 54 poses from the purple deck. So
Mhm.
I would say those are really the primary poses that we do here in America, at least. So if you're trying to get started, this could be a good way for you to do it on your own. And with accessibility, really, there are so many barriers. You might want to go take a yoga class, but you might not have the financial income to go take it. You might not find a teacher that you like. You might not have the schedule to fit that teacher into your day. And then also you might be self-conscious. You might not be ready to go in front of people and stretch, and I've kind of seen a variety of that. So I wanted to really just break down all the barriers and just say, here it is, and enjoy it if you want. So that's
Mhm.
kind of the essence of what I've been up to, and the progression of my yoga. And it's funny how this all is looping back around now to art. So, and then in that box, so this is technically a book fair, but in that box, there's a really nice printout of instructions, which I would say is really the essence of all yoga. I have typed out in that box, so a child could understand it. And I'm proud of that. And in fact, the wording of the description of yoga, because I think
Mhm.
oftentimes that's also a barrier. We think it's one thing, and then someone says it's something else, and so forth. So, and then the last thing that I'll really say, and then you can ask me whatever you'd like. This is really a tool you can use anywhere. I have teachers out here in Castle Rock, Colorado, where I'm living right now, and they use this in their Montessori school to warm up their kids in the morning. So they'll draw a card or two, and then their kids will do the poses. So I do want to get this into schools,
Mhm.
just to again get movement and a little bit more peace of mind and tranquility. And the last thing of it all is that this is where you get to unplug. So there's no technology, there's no screen. And I think that's really where I want to get back to
Mhm.
with the yoga.
Nicholas, this is,
And
for
that's all I
example, in
got.
my case, when I was with you and my kids practice uh, at the park with you, it helped. Yoga helped them a lot, and I think for families that we have kids hypers or with a deficit of attention or special needs, I think it's very helpful. Play with them at home, no, because if they are jumping around the living room and everywhere and they need peace, this is a perfect game for them.
Right.
Okay, we are showing your pictures. This is
Oh,
you.
thanks.
And I saw in a
Yeah.
video your dog is stretching. And you showed
Yeah.
me before. It's amazing. Can we see it? No, it's complicated.
You
It's
might. Let me see. Let me
hilarious.
see. I might get it. Holly.
Show us.
Holly.
Look
She's
at
asleep.
that. Oh, I'm
I don't know if you
sorry.
can see. Oh, I didn't
No,
know my
no,
camera
no,
was on.
don't worry,
Holly,
don't worry. He's stretching and
you
it's
want to
adorable,
stretch?
a dog practicing
Uh,
yoga.
she's
No, don't
done.
worry.
She's
Don't
done
worry.
for. She's in the
Look at that.
relaxation
Look at
portion. Oh,
that.
that's funny. These are funny. Oh, that's great. I really appreciate you. Do you have any more questions for me, or I'm really
um,
excited to do
m-
this. This is
m-
great.
Me
I think
too.
you're
I
doing something
think.
really fantastic here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And time flies really quickly. But I want, before we leave, I want to show you a couple of pictures that I took from of your Facebook. I'm sorry, I took it without your permission. Look at that. Look at that,
That's
guys.
okay.
Nicholas, it helps a lot. He cares the environment. And he's a person that is very spiritually, and he is in balance in his body, mind, and heart. He is a very kind person. He has a beautiful family. I send a big kiss to your wife and your stepdaughter. And look at that.
Thank you.
He's helping, enjoying with kids, teaching them to care about the environment. And if you can do it a little faster, Maria, because probably we don't have a lot of time. He is teaching in introspection in at the YMCA, I think so.
Yeah, that was a fundraiser for a yoga lecture
Uh-huh.
for the
In the
Y.
park here in
And that's
Houston.
Discovered Green. Yeah,
We
I
miss
love
you.
that
You
place.
are the best. I took
Oh, thank
Hatha
you.
and Raja Yoga with you.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
That's
It's
in
an old
Nicaragua.
picture.
Nicaragua down there. Yeah.
Oh wow, look at the sunrise.
Oh,
I
that hair.
took this picture. I
You
remember
took that
your
picture.
hair.
That's so
I
funny.
took it.
That
And
is
I'm
so funny.
sad because I didn't take the pictures for your game. I'm a
Oh yeah.
photographer.
Well, there's still time for that if you ever come to Colorado.
Ah, yeah, sure, for sure. I love this
Yeah.
picture. I loved your hair. One question. Why
Thanks.
did you cut it? I'm
Just
curious.
all I you know, everything is always changing, and I try to just roll with it. And if I wake up one day and I want to change it up, I just change it up. And that I had grown my hair out twice then, um, and just shaved it straight off and then donated it. Um,
Mm.
and so I felt it was time to just let go of that ego for a little bit and just try something different.
Oh,
But
you
I
have a
always just
good
grow my hair
heart.
out and then shave it, and then it's just easier. I haven't gone to a barber in half my life.
It
Yeah,
was
so
it's good change. The
yeah.
universe is changing all the time. Nothing is static. All the
Hmm.
time is moving. Look at this picture, Nicholas. He is my son, Rodrigo. After your class, he has
Aw.
autism. He's a happy soul, and he enjoyed a lot your class. And I'm sure that he
Aw.
missed you. Okay, Maria,
That
go
is so
ahead with the
sweet.
next. Thank you.
Thank you
With
for sharing that. Yeah.
thank
I miss
you.
teaching y'all out there. That was so fun.
My other kid, Lucius, he was outside because I say, be quiet. Everybody is focused in the class. Stay outside. But he
Yeah.
was practicing.
Aw.
Oh,
That
he's
is so
my
sweet. I
thank
think that's
you.
great you share that with your kids and bring them to classes, and
Ah,
it's
yes.
really important.
My best friend, Christine, I
Oh,
invited her.
nice. I love your photography. I was looking at your page there, and you have
Ah, I
some great shots. You
appreciate.
have great work.
You?
Oh, that's so
We
funny.
almost finished. We almost finished because I think time and my son Rodrigo.
Oh,
Oh, he's so adorable.
that
I
is so
think
sweet.
thank you. And practicing in another place with other teachers,
Oh, very
me and
good.
my friend, my best friend. I think we finished
Oh,
with the pictures, right? Oh, I really appreciate. I don't know how we are in time, Maria. We finish or we have more minutes or
2 minutes more.
okay.
Yes.
Nicholas, you cannot imagine how I appreciate that you be here, you share with us, especially like your mom writing your wall, how you put your heart in this project.
oh, she's so sweet. Yeah,
And it's
they
really
really support
helpful.
me.
It's really helpful,
It is.
especially in this time that we are in a pandemic situation. And this game is
Mhm,
perfect because we are at home. We need to feel relaxed. We need to feel in peace, in harmony with
mhm.
ourselves. And I think this is a beautiful present to us. And thank you for this contribution, your contribution to make this world better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. That's really kind.
Thank you.
That makes me
Something that
feel
you
really
have to
good.
say? Sam, do you
I
want to say
just,
something?
just, for everyone out there, just remember your breathing, your posture, all of that. It's so important. It's the simple things like that. And if I could tell that to one person and it changes their whole life, then that gives me purpose and meaning. So it's really simple. And again, you're bringing, instead of everything out there, which is really um, chaotic, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of beauty and peace as well. But when we bring our attention back into ourselves, this is where we live. We're in here, and you
Mhm,
could say all these esoteric things, which I don't really do too much, but you are living inside of your body. And so if you could take care of it, if you could give your body more attention, if you gave your posture more attention, your breathing, you check in on your mind more, see what your mind is doing. And because the body shows what the mind is thinking.
mhm,
So if you're
mhm.
slouching, you're looking down, you might be having
Oh my
depressed
God.
thinking. So you keep yourself in check with yoga. And I think that's really simple and beautiful. And I think any age should be able to understand something that simple. And it's a tool that you can use the rest of your life. And really, if I could say one last thing, because I could yak all day about yoga. Yoga is not a doing. It's really the undoing, but really it's a state of being, just like a state of happiness. You're happy, your body feels good,
Mhm,
you're smiling,
mhm,
and sadness is a
mhm.
state. Yoga is a state where you are completely still in your mind and your body, and you are just watching. You're witnessing yourself. You're something really simple and profound is just to feel your heartbeat. You could touch your wrist and just sit and feel your
Mhm,
beat, feel your breath. Your heartbeat moves every single cell in your body. It moves all of your hair particles. It moves everything. Your
mhm.
breath moves everything as well. When you breathe full, the diaphragm pushes on your organs and stimulates your organs. It's really powerful in such a simple way. So I'd keep yakking, but I think that'll hit
No.
the last note for me there, unless you got any more questions.
No, no more questions. Thank you. We have more questions, but we don't have time, unfortunately. But
Sure,
thank
yeah.
you so much. Thank you for really quickly. Just give us your how can we find you in Facebook or the
Mm.
website for to buy the game, please.
So the game is yogisgame.com, yogisgame.com. And on there, you can find my other website where I have my free resources, which is yogisense.com. But yogisgame.com, you can't buy it on that site. It takes you to another site. All of the games and the mats are print on demand. So there's not a warehouse, or I don't have a stockpile in my house. When you buy it, they print it and then they ship it. So it's a little bit more expensive for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to be wasteful and print thousands of them and have them sitting. So they're print on demand, and it's really simple. You just go on there. It'll take you to an external link, and then you can see all of the copies and versions that you'd like.
Excellent. Thank you so much, my teacher. I miss
Thank
you a
you.
lot. God
Yeah, I
bless you.
miss you.
Namaste. And thank
Namaste.
you.
Thank you.
A big kiss for all your family. I
Thank
love
you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank
much.
you. We love you too.
Thank you
Take
for
care.
being
Thank you
here.
for this.
Thank you, United Kingdom. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Maria.